Concerns are mounting over the risk of a regional spillover from the conflict between Israel and Hamas, with Hezbollah stepping in the exchange of fire. Signs of the war spiraling across West Asia are already visible in countries like Lebanon. Our correspondent Vishal Pandey sent this report from the Lebanese border with Israel.
This is the northern side of Israel. Only 8 kilometers from here begins the Lebanon border.
Iran-backed militia in Lebanon, Hezbollah's fighters, continue to attack northern Israel.
We are allowed till here as the situation on this side is very volatile.
In the latest, Israeli aircraft claim to have struck 2 Hezbollah cells in Lebanon.
Israel and Hezbollah have been engaged in cross-firing over the days, but Hezbollah is yet to get into the full scale of war with Israel.
Israel has repeatedly cautioned the Iran-backed group. An IDF spokesperson said Hezbollah is playing a very dangerous game. He added that Hezbollah's actions could drag Lebanon into a war with no gains.
Israel has been warning that if Hezbollah jumps into the war, it will be their biggest mistake.
אם חיזבאללה יחליט להיכנס למלחמה, הוא יתגעגע למלחמת לבנון השנייה. הוא יעשה את טעות חייו. ואנחנו נכה בו בעוצמה שהוא לא יכול אפילו לדמיין. והמשמעות לו ולמדינת לבנון היא הרסנית. אבל אנחנו ערוכים לכל תרחיש.
If Hezbollah joining the war would mean Iran being pulled in the war as well.
Ever since the Israel-Hamas war broke out earlier this month, Israel has already enhanced its evacuation efforts along the northern borders with Lebanon. Hezbollah has vast stocks of long-range missiles, which could strike almost anywhere in Israel. It claims to have over 100,000 fighters.
These numbers can overwhelm the Israelis. With video journalist S. Jaideep, this is Vishal Pandey reporting from the northern Israel for WION.
Lieutenant Colonel Peter Lerner is the international spokesperson for Israel Defense Forces IDF and is now joining us on the show. Lieutenant Colonel Peter, welcome to WION World is One.
Thank you.
Now, Lieutenant, there's a new battlefield along the borders of Israel. How do you plan to deal with the militant groups like Hezbollah and also Houthi, who are now proving to be the new threat for Israel?
I was just listening to your very in-depth coverage of the situation in Gaza. A very detailed report based on Hamas's figures about the casualties and fatalities. Unfortunately, I didn't hear you mention any of the Israeli victims of Hamas's brutal attack, victims like 79-year-old Chaim Perry, who is being held hostage by Hamas. Chaim Perry is a resident of the Nir Oz community, and he spent his free time driving Palestinian children to hospitals from Gaza for treatment in Israel. We need to understand how we got to where we are. This is the situation. This was a war that Hamas declared on Israel. And we are now facing a reality that we did not choose to be in. And we have no choice but to destroy, dismantle, and make sure Hamas can never, ever govern the Gaza Strip again as a staging ground against us. With regard to the question about what's going on the northern border and Hezbollah, we are taking the necessary precautions to be prepared for any eventuality. And indeed, these other terrorist organizations being managed by Iran and trying to aggravate the situation and perhaps divert our attention from the south to the north is a very dangerous game. Hezbollah are operating out of southern Lebanon. Lebanon is a sovereign country. They have to take control of what's going on in the south of their country. And to Hezbollah, I say, look very, very carefully how we are destroying, dismantling Hamas in the south, and think and consider if they really want to cross that threshold.
All right, Lieutenant, let's talk about that destroying of Hamas. We have been reporting about an imminent ground invasion over Gaza with the aim of eliminating the Hamas militants. I have 2 questions for you, Colonel. First, there are countries who are urging Israel to hold off on that plan and consider the hostage situation. Have you received such pleas? And second, do Israeli ground troops know what to expect?
So regarding your first question, I would say, first of all, we will not bow down our heads to terrorism, because we've seen what Hamas does with heads of babies, of children, of mothers, of fathers. They chop them off. That cannot be the new norm of terrorism in this region. We won't allow it to happen. We will not raise that white flag that some people are interested in us doing. And on the second question, I think we have been preparing. We have operational capabilities. We have broad intelligence. And again, the people of Israel are expecting us to protect them. When Hamas declared war on Israel on October 7th, they determined their destiny. They brutally massacred over 1,400 people. They abducted 222 people, and that number might even increase because there are still 100 people that are unaccounted for. I can say this: any Hamas terrorist that came into Israeli territory, we are hunting them down. Any Hamas terrorist that is directing this activity, this brutal terrorist attack against us, we are hunting them down. And I can say this: Yahya Sinwar, who is the mastermind of the massacre of Israelis in the south of Israel, we will hunt him down. This is an unacceptable reality, and we have no other choice but to protect our people.
Finally, Colonel Peter, the issue here is Hamas, we all agree, but millions of Palestinians are caught in the middle. Even though Israel has sent warnings and evacuation notices to Gazans to move southwards, let's be honest, many are stuck, confused, and don't know what to do. Is Israel thinking about the plight of these people who are caught in the crossfire, and what is it doing about it?
Israel is the only party in this conflict that is thinking about these people. When we are calling them to evacuate, we are trying to get them out of harm's way. What does Hamas do? Instead of encouraging them to get out of harm's way and evacuating them to safe zones, to protected zones, to places with water and shelter, they tell them to stay, to not evacuate, to sacrifice them for Hamas. They are willing to sacrifice each and every Palestinian for their terrorist intentions. We are operating within the realm of international humanitarian law, within the realm of the laws of armed conflict. It is Hamas that has brutally, disrespectfully left the people of Gaza out to dry. Our job is to try and minimize that effect while restoring security to the people of Israel. This is a reality we will not agree to have on our doorstep, neither should anybody else. I would say all of those that have questions about it, instead of questioning it, need to support Israel, support the IDF in our endeavor to free Israel from the ever-looming threat of Hamas's abductions, massacres, and beheadings, and also free the people of Gaza from their brutal rule that has done absolutely nothing good for the people of Gaza. On the contrary, only bad.
All right, I've been talking to Lieutenant Colonel Peter Lerner, is the international spokesperson for Israel Defense Forces. Lieutenant Colonel, thank you for talking to WION World is One today.
Thank you.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.